Look, are you ready for some football? And I gotta go home and get ready for some football.
I think it's that Bill Duncan.
Bill Duncan kid, huh?
Yeah.
Well, let's go get him.
Let's find out if he's ready for some football.
Yeah, what do we got? Another citizen who isn't ready for some football.
What beats me how you can swallow down a whole hot tamale first thing in the morning.
I just feel like you might not be ready for some football.
Anything you say can be used to get you ready for some football.
I'd like to teach the world to get ready for some football.
What's the matter?
Nothing.
I'm not ready for football anymore.
Hey YouTube, what's going on? A little while ago, just kind of wrapped up our second annual YouTube Comic Book Community Fantasy Football League draft. Like I said, we went from 12 teams last year to 14 teams this year. I'm going to kind of quickly recap the draft results, go over some interesting things that happened during the draft, some report cards, so kind of some things to look over, for the year. I'll quickly run down the draft order and I'll just go over the first round results. We had 13 people draft live. The first person, the Dark Knight 40, who is Stafford for MVP team, drafted first, who was not there for the draft. Still ended up with a pretty decent team. So first round order was Stafford MVP. Scott, Run the Comics, Run with Calvin, picked second. PJ Zombie, which his team name is Famous Monsters, picked third. Shippernaut, Rocky Mountain Sherpas, picked fourth. Gimpy 204, the Potty Mouth Gimps, picked fifth. King Joe and the King's Core picked sixth. Larry Baum and the Thunderbolts picked seventh. Incredible CJ and the Gotham Knights picked eighth. Harry Monster 666 and the Doom Patrol picked ninth. Green Lantern 223 and the Green Lantern Football Corps picked 10th. Frank Comic Noob and the Fuckadoodles picked 11th. Mark, the Bagging and Boarding Bad Boy, and the Vikings with what the hell was he changed his name to? Shit. Vikings with Glasses. He changed his team name. Vikings with Glasses picked 12th. Myself, the Army of One, picked 12th. And the Crack Spackle, the Space Baby, picked 14th. So, first round looked decent for the first two picks. LaShawn McCoy were first overall, but being an auto draft, obviously going by Yahoo rankings, so he was picked first. Then, obviously running with Calvin, picked Calvin Johnson, big shocker there. Famous Monsters picked Jamal Charles. Rocky Mountain Sherpas picked Peyton Manning. And obviously Gimpy, being from close to Indy, picked Andrew Luck. King Joe picked AJ Green. Thunderbolts picked Matt Forte. CJ picked Jimmy Graham. And Doom Patrol picked Adrian Peterson, fell all the way in 9th place, which is amazing. Green Lantern Corps picked Drew Brees. Fuckadoodles picked A. Lacey, another shocking pick to fall to number 11. Vikings with Glasses picked Demarius Thomas. I myself picked Des Bryant. And to round out the first round was Matthew Stafford. Obviously, a lot of quarterbacks went in the first round, and not many running backs. Which this year we changed the league to a PPR format, so it was kind of surprising to see a lot of the quarterbacks go in the first round. But looking over the overall draft records, only one team got an A+. Famous Monsters, he's predicted to have the best winner of the draft, for whatever reason. Stanford MVP obviously was a B+, even though it was auto-drafted. Then a bunch of B grades, Doom Patrol, Rocky Mountain Sherpas, Fuckadoodles, myself, Gotham Knights, King's Core, Thunderbolts, got all B grades. C+'s go to Green Lantern Corps, Running with Calvin, Vikings with Glasses gets a C, Crack Spackles C-, and Potty Mouth Gimps gets a D. last year probably one of the kids won the league, but most of his team was auto-drafted, so he probably should have opted out for this year. And I'm going to tell you why. Last year, for those of you who know, and I've mentioned it before, last year Gimpy picked Aaron Hernandez. Yes, live drafted Aaron Hernandez. First few rounds of his draft were all auto-drafted. He gets in the draft, picks Aaron Hernandez. This year, his second overall pick was Tony Gonzalez, who is currently retired. Apparently his draft guide was from 2009. So, and he was sober too. That's the funny part. He was completely sober during the draft. So he says. But just going to kind of quickly go down everybody's report card and kind of give a little highlight of what the Yahoo writers, or if it's I think this is just kind of like a preset thing they do. They don't see somebody's writing of these out individually. So the Famous Monsters gets an A. Basically, they kind of go with a little draft summary for each thing. Kind of give you a little detailed overall draft summary. I think they're predicted to be, even though they got the best draft, they're predicted 4th overall with a record of 8-5. It kind of goes over kind of their strength and schedules. An odd thing about his team is he actually picked, I think he has 4 starters. I think 4 starters are all Steelers. Being from Pittsburgh's not that a stretch. But it's all in the same bye week. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens on there. Yeah, he's got 4 players. 4 players on the Steelers. All the same bye week. Then we go to Stafford MVP. He's predicted with his auto draft team. I figured, obviously, for those of you who don't know, Nate is newly engaged. So I figured he's out shopping for China patterns and silverware and curtains and whatnot for his wedding and wedding plans. He's predicted to finish first with an auto draft. And that's one thing I mentioned during the draft in the little comment section was I'm surprised. Don't be surprised if he gets the auto draft to pick team and he picks first. So he's predicted to finish 11-2. So let's see his overall team. Give me 1 second. He actually had a pretty good team for obviously being auto drafted. So we're going to kind of go by their picks. He's got good running backs. He's got, obviously, first overall pick was LaShawn McCoy. He's got, I think it's Gio Bernard. And who was his other pick? Toby Gerhardt, I think was one of his picks. Who's a starter. It's for Jacksonville, but he is a starter. And McCoy, Toby Gerhardt. Jordy Nelson is a good receiver. Victor Cruz, decent receiver. So like I said, for being an auto draft pick, he's got a decent team. And Doom Patrol, also with a B grade. His tagline is he's got led by an elite group of running backs. Doom Patrol owned this draft, so he owned it, but he only got a B. He's predicted to finish 3rd, with a record of 10-3. Guess he's got some other issues with some bye weeks, but let's see. He picked Ray Rice. I think once he goes back off of his suspension, he's going to have something he's going to want to prove to everybody. So I think he's going to do pretty good. Adrian Peterson got Andre Ellington, another great running back, who's going to get a ton of workload this year. It's somebody I really contemplating taking with my second pick, but I didn't. And then Pierre Garcon, his receiver is Malcolm Floyd. So decent receivers. So, like I said, there's another B grade for him. Rocky Mountain Sherpas. This is going to be a long video, just so you know. He's led by stellar wide receivers. Has a chance to win this thing. I don't think he's going to. See, he's predicted to finish second, which he did last year. The record 11-2. So he's got some issues with. This is probably the one year I really didn't pay attention to bye weeks this year, but I ended up pretty good for bye weeks. And then there's some teams in the league who's got some issues with a lot of players same bye week, a lot of their starters. Obviously, one of his top picks was Peyton Manning. Was a good top pick for him, his first round pick. And if Gronkowski can stay healthy, obviously he's gonna be top 1-2 tight ends in the league. Let's see who else. He's got Alshon Jeffrey, another great receiver. Kendall Wright, who could possibly be a good receiver. And then Mark Ingram is one of his running backs who could be decent, maybe not in a PPR league, but I think he could be a solid running back on a high-powered offense. He's got Noshawn Moreno, who I had last year, who being in Miami is definitely going to have an opportunity to get some playing time down there. And then comes the Fuckadoodles, who actually drafted from Walgreens, picking up Nana's medicine. What a great guy he is. We all miss Frank. And I think it took him at least 35 to 45 seconds in the draft to use the F word, which was also a theme for the evening. There's a lot of F-bombs flying around. It's all good fun. He's actually predicted to finish 7th at 7-6. He picked up Eddie Lacy, Marshawn Lynch. He's got two of the really good running backs. But then he also picked a couple. Nick Foles and Ryan Fitzpatrick are his quarterbacks, which aren't so good. Hopefully Nick Foles can keep up with his season from last year. Only with 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I think he's already quadrupled that, or he tripled that interception rate in the preseason. So interesting to see how he does in his second year. Eddie Lacy, Marshawn Lynch, Randall Cobb, great receiver. Maurice Jones-Drew. Hopefully he can stay healthy and play in Oakland. Fortunately, I think they're going to be behind a lot, but he does catch a lot of balls, and so hopefully he'll be due. I always liked MJD. I think I had him on my fantasy team years ago in his rookie year, so I always thought he'd be a solid player if he stays healthy. And this is my favorite time. I went through everybody's report cards I had read. My team, I think I had what my favorite was. Despite a formal set of receivers, Army 1 should have paid for expert advice. I thought that was pretty funny. I am predicted to finish 13th. I got a B grade on my report card, but I'm projected to finish only having 3 wins. 3-10. Awesome. This is great. I opted to only pick one. I think I'm the only person who picked one quarterback. I picked Jay Cutler. I think his bye week is 9, so I think I have plenty of time. Somebody's always going to emerge as somewhere down the line, and players are going to be dropped and added. So I think I got plenty of time to pick up a backup as long as he stays healthy until his bye week. I only picked up one kicker. Some people picked up 2. I actually picked up 2 Bills. I was surprised. I like Dan Carper, and I think Bills can move the ball a little bit, but they're horrible in the red zone. So I think they're going to be kicking a lot. I didn't mind picking up a couple guys from the Giants, especially in a PPR. Their team's horrible. They're going to have to throw the ball a lot. So, so I played Des Bryant, obviously Monte Ball. Got to have a piece of the Denver offense in some way, shape, or form. Vincent Jackson, he's going to catch a lot of balls. And Fred Jackson, I think listening, obviously, all the Bills coverage and stuff, and what they done with C.J. Spiller in the past, Fred Jackson's still going to be part of that offense no matter what. And he's a great every down back, so hopefully they'll use him as much as they did last year. Then the Gotham Knights. It's weird because you go to the draft and they suck. And you start picking these teams apart and there's good parts of every team in this league. I think in any league it's automatically come down to health and free agency, and who's going to get that first pick, who's going to find that one little gem that's out there that it's going to be picked up. And it's all about timing. Who gets who has that first waiver priority. So that's what it comes down to, I think, every year. He's predicted to finish 8th place with a record of 7-6. He was actually doing some homework during his draft, so I'll give him a little break on not being focused enough. But let's see, his top players are Jimmy Graham, obviously. Aaron Rodgers, a great quarterback. Alfred Morris, obviously a great running back. In a PPR league, not so much. Frank Gore's getting a little old, but he does catch passes. And obviously Emmanuel Sanders, another receiver who, like I said, in the Denver offense, he's going to see some catches. So on to King Joe. King Joe had a horrible draft last year. He kind of knew he hasn't played fantasy football in years. And last year it showed. This year I think he did pretty good. With obviously a ranking of B grade. So he is actually projected to finish 8-5. Where's this to say what rank? Not good enough for 5th place. So he's predicted to finish 5th. So let's see some of his highlights of his draft. As AJ Green, Matt Ryan's a great quarterback. Doug Martin, hopefully, I picked him first overall. My first pick last year, second pick overall. And obviously he got hurt, so hopefully he can stay healthy. Jordan Cameron, one of the top tight ends in the league. Eric Decker had a great season last year with Peyton Manning. Is he going to do it again this year? Who knows? But Geno Smith got to throw the ball somebody, so why not him? And the Thunderbolts. A couple of teams changed names. Last year was Wade Warriors. This year's the Thunderbolts. So let's see what his rundown is. He is projected to finish 6th at 8-5. This is Thunderbolts should pick up a new hobby like bird watching during week 10. He's got 4 players projected to have the most fantasy points on that bye week. Yeah. A lot of people didn't worry about bye weeks at all. Obviously, you can't win every week, so if you have like 4 or 5 guys on a bye week, people don't give a shit anymore. Some of his highlights, he's got Matt Forte, Arian Foster. Hopefully, he can stay healthy. Vernon Davis, Fitzgerald, and Tywan Hilton. So he's got some really good receivers. So hopefully, like I said, in any team they can stay healthy. Next, the Green Lantern Corps. Green Lantern 223. Very quiet during the draft. I don't think he commented at all. Maybe in the beginning. Despite some early steals, Green Lantern Corps probably has draft regrets. He's actually predicted to finish 11th with a record of 4-9. Let's see some of his highlight drafts: Drew Brees, Antonio Brown, Zach Stacy. Volume back, not really great in the PPR. Cordell Patterson, great young receiver. And this year we are doing return yardage. I think it's 1 point every 50 yards. So he does see a lot of gets some good return yardage possibly. So that's good for him. Bishop Sankey, another young running back, not a starter yet, but could definitely take over that spot. Then we get down to running with Calvin. The grade of a C+. Wow, that's probably one of my longest videos ever. Despite some early steals, running with Calvin is good enough to barely miss playoffs. He's projected to finish 9th, 6 and 7. Let's see some of his. He's got Calvin Johnson. Picked up Calvin Johnson, or Chris Johnson. Ahmad Bradshaw. Percy Harvin was a good pickup. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Another guy in the return yards could definitely work out for you. Calvin Johnson, DeMarco Murray. Another guy's got to stay healthy. Reggie Bush could definitely split times with Bell there. And then Jermichael Finley. Obviously he's got to have a Packer. So definitely better draft than last year. Last year's picking like third-string Green Bay tight ends nobody even heard of. So definitely did a lot better this year. I think his wife was helping him. Then we get to Mark's team, Vikings with glasses. Rating of a C. He is projected to finish 10th, 5 and 8. He picked 4 quarterbacks. Let me pull his team up. I wonder how many quarterbacks he picked. He picked 4 quarterbacks. Sammy team. Let's see. I picked 1. He picked 4. Hopefully, maybe 1 hits. Let's see what that pulls up. Let's see. He Demaryius Thomas, Brandon Marshall. Obviously, 2 of the greatest receivers in for fantasy. Especially for PPR. So right now he's got Russ Wilson as starter. He also has Alex Smith, Johnny Manziel, and Jake Locker. Jake Locker is a homer pick, so I can't fault him for that. But Johnny Manziel, I think if he gets a chance late in the year with his ability to run, he could, maybe fill a bye week fill in possibly against the right team. Ryan Matthews done a great. He had probably one of the best second half last year of the season for running backs in the PPR. Pretty good pick. Russell Wilson, another guy who's kind of give you some yardage on the ground, not so much in the air. And he picked up Steve Gostkowski in the 7th round for a kicker. So I think he was the first kicker off the board. So I mean, like I said, any of these teams looking down the board has a chance. I mean, it's going to be very interesting, especially with a 2-division team, 2-division league. All you do is win your division or get close to your division. Anything can happen in the playoffs. Then we get Cracks Backle, the C-. I got a B, he got a C-, but yeah, he is projected to finish. Where is he? He's actually. Where is he? He's projected to finish near the bottom of 3 and 10. So, he's right there with me. I picked 12th. I picked 13th. He picked 14th. He didn't really. He picked what he wanted. If I think I would have picked Shane Vereen before Vincent Jackson, I think I had a shot. But I picked Vincent Jackson first, and he stole Shane Vereen from me, which is a really great pick, especially in a PPR. Matt Stafford, he's going to throw for a shitload of yards. Julius Thomas, obviously, he's going to catch the touchdowns. Pierre Thomas, again, in the PPR, great. I don't know how much yardage you can get on the ground. A lot of committee down there. And Marcus Colston, obviously. Colston and Pierre Thomas. In that high part offense, you're going to get opportunities. And if Colston can stay healthy and be consistent, I think it's probably one of the first years I ever had him on one of my teams. So, get a chance to do some good shit there. Last but not least, the Potty Mouth Gimps, with a draft grade of a D. Should have went with auto pick, Gimpy. Should have just went for work. It's just with too many reaches early, Potty Mouth Gimps is going to have a long season. He is actually predicted to finish 14th with a record of 0-13. He's not predicted to win one game. When you draft Tony Gonzalez, I can see why. Let's see. Andrew Luck was his first pick overall. It's weird because, like I said, some of these rankings of these draft report cards don't even mention that Tony Gonzalez is retired. And the little funny thing is with their second round pick, Potty Mouth Gims pulled the trigger. They drafted Tony Gonzalez at pick 24, despite the ADP of just 116.1 across Yahoo leagues. So there's other people out there drafting Tony Gonzalez. They shouldn't be playing fantasy football. I don't care. They're horrible. That's just ridiculous. I don't know why Yahoo should have an NA next to him. Even though I think he did say that if he gets interest from a contender team, he will come back out of retirement. So there is a chance that he may be back in the league this year. I picked up Ben Tate for Cleveland. Anquan Bolden, not a bad pick. Greg Olsen, I think he's going to get a lot of targets in Carolina. So those are all draft grades. I'm going to go down really quickly. The divisions, I may rename them. I had them last year, so I may rename them. Who knows? But right now, as sitting in the Captain Strangelove division, it is Stafford MVP, myself, the Army of One, the Green Lantern Corps, Runaway Calvin, Fuckadoodles, the Thunderbolts, and Famous Monsters. In the Hippies Collectibles division, it is Potty Mouth Gimps, returning champ. The Rocky Mountain Sherpas, second place finished last year. Doom Patrol, third place finished last year. Crack Spackle, Gotham Knights, the King's Corps, and Vikings with Glasses. Week 1 starting this Thursday. First games of the year. Myself versus Run with Calvin. Sherpa Knots versus King Core. Thunderbolts versus Stafford MVP. Gotham Knights versus Crack Spackle. Green Lantern Corps versus Famous Monsters. And Doom Patrol versus Potty Mouth Gimps. Fuckadoodles versus Vikings with Glasses. It's going to be some close matchups. Scott is predicted to win by like a point. The projected winners are Run with Calvin, Rocky Mountain Sherpas, Stafford MVP, Gotham Knights, Famous Monsters, Doom Patrol, and Fuckadoodles. But they're all super close. I mean, we got about a point. Here's about 9 points. I mean, most of them are pretty close, except for Doom Patrol, who's projected to win by like 30 points over Gimpy. So, wow, it's a long video. Listen, weekly videos every week, probably Monday night, Tuesday. So stay tuned. Good luck to everybody in the league. So I can't do this without you guys. So I really thank you guys for joining this year. And then, like I said, weekly videos. 3 days to the season starts. So let's have fun. Let's keep the trash talk going. So we'll see you for the next one. Take care. Have a good night. Thanks. Bye.